loin. We'd like to get right in behind her and give her just a little more shot of muscle to that lower leg. Guys, let's put our hands together for two great young ladies.
Okay, they clear the ring. We'll be ready for our Class 2. We have one entry in Class 2. Results of Class 1. First goes to Raylyn Parsons from Valiant 4-H. Second to Kylie Gray from Valiant 4-H.
We come in here with a heavyweight, single-entry, blackface AOP ewe-lamb here, guys, and we talk about one that's stout and powerful and just has a ton of mass to her. This is the one you need to be thinking of. She is put together right. She balances out. She's structurally correct. When you get your hands on her, guys, she is packed full of muscle. But she does all this, guys, and she still bounces out correctly, and she's still feminine enough through her front one-third there. A really nice single-entry lamb that could stand some competition. Guys, let's put our hands together for a great young man.
Jeremiah Murray is our Class 2 winner. We'll be ready for Class 1 of the white-faced AOBs. There's 2 entries in Class 1. 2 entries in Class 1. While we're waiting on this next class to come in, we've got a young man running for a Southeast District Vice President that would like to visit with everyone just a moment.
Hi, everyone. My name is Josh Winnett, and I proudly represent the Rock Creek FFA chapter as a candidate for your next Southeast Area Vice President. I'd like to wish good luck to all the exhibitors today and congratulate all those who win. Thank you.
Thank you.
maybe a little more challenging set on top here to sort, and you kind of have to sit back and analyze them and go through some give and takes. And as I look and things I prioritize, you know, one thing for me is balance. They've got to balance out. They've got to blend correctly. They've got to have some muscle shape and thickness to them, and they've got to have a little bit of width to them. And you have to kind of look back and forth on this first and second and pick which one works the best for you. And for the one that works the best for me, is going to be the young lady's ewe lamb there. One, guys, it is the most powerful one when you get out here. She's the widest from front to back. She's the widest over her rack. She's the biggest and thickest in her loin. She's the levelest, squarest, and thickest through that upper part of her hip. She's really bold and deep to the lower portions of her legs. She's the freshest in her handling. And, guys, that almost works to her disadvantage. For me, she may be kind of borderline getting on that too much condition. But it's here in the first part of March. You're going to go to OIE with her maybe. She needs to be a little more conditioned on her when you peel that wool off her, because she's going to lose some of that. I like the extra feel she has to her. A really nice one to start this class with. If you do think that the one we start the class with is too heavy, you're going to land on the one we have in second place. And this man's lamb is trimmer. It's probably a higher cutability lamb. You like the shape and expression of muscle over that rack and that loin. You like the levelness to his hip. But when we start out here and we get to analyzing this sheep and we get to really studying him, when you get your hands on him, there's not quite as much shape and thickness of muscle over that rack and that loin. He wants to be a little more washed out on the back part of his loin as he comes into his hip. And you get to analyzing his muscle. He's a narrower, lighter muscle lamb that's a little narrower right when he comes at you, but a really nice trim lamb that you could say you like the profile that the lamb has. The young lady's lamb we're going to have here in the third hole is the one that when you step off on the side profile has that long, thin neck. You like that about it. You like the length of body, the length of hip the lamb has to it. As we get out here and we talk this lamb over the other ones, we just need to see more total thickness of muscle. We need to see this lamb handle fresher down the loin. We just need to see more lamb there. Guys, let's put our hands together for a great set of kids.
Results of Class 1 first went to Josie Brown from Smithfield 4-H. Second, Jason Tate, Hayworth FFA. And third to Jazzy Hester from Valiant 4-H. We're now ready for the third class.
once again, another nice set of lambs to sort through. And I think when you get out here, guys, and honestly, as they came in, they kind of surprise you as you watch them walk in. You watch them on the move, then you get your hands on them. They kind of surprise you just a little bit on how they're going to handle. The one that's going to do it for me is going to be the young lady's Dorset lamb right here. Guys, you need to get your hands on this lamb to really appreciate him. He is big-topped, big-ended. He's got the biggest, thickest squares tip in him. He's got the most lower leg of him, a tremendous rib blade in him. I like how he balances out. I like him through his front 1/3. If we could change him, he probably needs to be a little bigger bone, a little bigger footed, have a little bit more of that shag on there. Might not hurt anything. But guys, a lamb that when you get your hands on him, you talk about muscle. He's really put together well. He does what every Dorset does when you get him on the move. They want to roach up a little bit in that top. But guys, that's a pretty nice, powerful lamb there for the young lady to have to start the class with. We're going to come in here next to the young lady's Southdown lamb. A lamb that is stouter, a lamb that is bigger bone, a lamb that does have that extra advantage when we talk about shag. A lamb, though, guys, when you get your hands on this one, he doesn't handle as much thickness right over that rack and through that loin. He's not as big and thick in top part of his hip. He's not as thick through the lower portions of his leg. You get behind him, you get up on top of him, you'd like to take and make that hip square and thicker out there, and you'd like to make him have just a little more lower leg to him when you watch him walk away from you. The young lady's lamb we're going to go ahead and round up these 3 lambs with is one that when we talk about a big outline sheep, it is probably the bigger outline of the 3 we have out here. We like the way the lamb blends through that front 1/3. We like how she comes out of her neck. We like the freshness this lamb has to the handle. This lamb, when you first look at him, you think, this lamb's probably not going to handle as fresh and firm as we'd like for him to. The lamb does have a nice handle to it, has a lot of shape and dimension over the rack and through the loin. And probably just a little bit square on top part of the hips. We talked back about our second place lamb. But when you get in behind this lamb and you really start to put this lamb together, you'd like to make this lamb be thicker through lower portions of his leg, and you'd probably like to make him, when she gets him stuck, handle just a little firmer to the touch. Guys, a great set of kids. Let's put our hands together.
Okay, we're going to need all the class winners from the AOBs, all the class winners of those 4 classes. We need those 4 class winners back in the ring. And this will be showing for our champion AOB. We'll also line up about 5 AOBs for the preliminary sale order. So if you showed an AOB, you need to be very handy. We'll start with just all 4 class winners. We need you back in the ring. Results of our second class of white AOBs was first, Lily Van Gaal from Idaville FFA. Second, Megan Klein from Smithville FFA. And third was Kylie Gray from Valiant 4-H. If you showed an AOB, you need to be very handy because we're going to line up after breed and reserve breed. We'll line up 3 additional AOBs for the preliminary sale order.
Let's all put our hands together for all our AOB exhibitors, the 4 we have out here, plus the ones fixing to come back through. Guys, we need to remember as we go through this, this is about the kids and not so much about the lambs and where they place. We need to make these kids feel great and welcome out here. Guys, we come out here for our champion AOB, and there's a really nice set of lambs, and I'm really excited when I get them on the side profile. They all blend and match, and you get in that AOB thing sometimes, and you have every shape and color come at you. These kind of sort themselves up there pretty well and match. Guys, we get up here and we look at them, and I think there's one that fits the things I'm looking for today. The young man's heavyweight blackface sheep will be your champion AOB. And that was a single entry, wasn't it? Okay.
Jeremiah Murray from Smithville 4-H is our champion AOB. A single entry in that class.
We come out here and we get ready to select our reserve champion. There's one that hit me really hard in class, as just being powerful, really thick and massive from front to back. We talked about making it bigger bone. We talked about making more shag on the lamb, but those aren't things you can eat when you eat lamb. The young lady with the heavyweight white-faced sheep will be your reserve champion AOB.
Yeah, that'll be Lily Van Gogh from Idaville FFA as our reserve champion. We need Megan Klein back in the ring out of that class. Y'all have cards. Okay. You don't have to talk these, you can just pick them. Preliminary sell order, just pick them. Okay, third, don't go out of the ring until you get a card. Third, Raylyn Parsons from Valiant. We need Kylie Gray in the ring. Fourth is Josie Brown from Smithville. We need Jason Tate back in the ring. Jason Tate. You have a lightweight hemp, you need to be making your way towards the show ring. Lightweight hemps, make your way towards the show ring. This will be the final selection in our preliminary sale order for the AOBs. And the fifth one is Jason Tate from Hayworth. They'll clear the ring and we'll be ready to start our lightweight Hampshire show. Lightweight Hamps. We think there's 6 entries in our lightweight Hamp class. If any of the lamb exhibitors or their ag teachers, parents, or anyone, if you know of any lambs other than Lily's that was in this last, was reserve breed, that was county bred, you need to come share that knowledge with us. That's the only one that we have down on the sheet that was county bred. So anyone that thinks anything different, please let us know.
How many classes and camps are there?
There's 3.
Okay, 3.
There will be 3 classes in the Hamp division. 3 classes in the Hamp division. If you're in Class 2, you need to be getting it on your mind.
Really nice set of Hampshire sheep to start out the Hampshire drive with here, guys, and lots of diversity, different kinds and sizes and shapes of them. The one we're going to land on to start, guys, is my kind of sheep. I like them big, I like them stout, I like them powerful. This lamb is just massively thick from front to back, has a tremendous handle to him, really fresh. I love the rib shape, and all this goes together in a very well-designed package, blends together very well, balances out really nice. A great lamb for the young lady to start the class out with out here today. Second and third, guys, if you flip-flop them back and forth, I could kind of understand that. The lamb we're going to start with in second, though, just simply is more complete in my mind. The lamb bounces out better, blends together better. His shoulder runs into the rack a little more completely, has a big rib. He's leveler down his top. She ties into her hip a little more completely. She don't want to pinch right there. I think she's leveler and squarer in that hip. You get in behind her, she's got lots of shape and thickness and muscle. She handles really fresh to the touch. If I could change her, I need to make her bigger outline. I need to make her bigger, I need to make her just a little cleaner fronted. I just need to make her just a little bigger package to go along with that. The young lady's lamb we're going to have in third is the bigger package, the larger outline, the larger design sheep. I like how this sheep probably comes out of her shoulder just a little bit better than our lamb we have in second. But this lamb gets to be a little piecey for me out here. Wants to be a little tighter right there behind the shoulder. Wants to be just a little tighter right there when it comes from the loin into the hip. Doesn't have as much squareness and thickness too as we talked that lamb when we talked about the way the lamb handles. Wants to be just a little more piecey in its muscle. And of our top three is probably the one that needs to be fresher to the touch. We'd like to see just a little more fat cover to that lamb to make it handle just a little fresher. Our young lady's lamb we're going to have in fourth is one that sure enough surprises you when you get your hands on this lamb. Really fresh to the touch. You like the width and expression this lamb has. Our fourth, fifth, and sixth place lambs just don't have enough power to move up in the class. We need to make them thicker. We need to make them heavier muscled. We need to get those lambs just a little more shape and thickness. Guys, let's put our hands together for a great set of kids.
We'll let this first class through the ring. If you're in class two, please come around and see Mr. Campbell and go right through the scales and then into the show ring. in Class 2. Results of Class 1. First is Miley Williams from Rocomo 4H. Second is Tyler White from Valiant 4H. Third is Lauren Jackson from Valiant 4H. Fourth is Haley Smith from Rocomo. Fifth is Raylyn Parsons from Valiant 4H. And sixth is Jason Tate from Hayworth FFA. We'll let Class 2 go through the scales and then into the showroom. And we'll be ready to show Class 2. FFA Booster Club. We appreciate all the people that sponsor and support our kids each and every year.
really nice set to lead off this with. And this top pair here, guys, are really high-quality lambs that have some give and take and separate themselves out on a very subtle thing. The young man's lamb is going to start the class with the guys is just the freshest handling and the most correctly finished lamb that we have out here. You love the handle this guy has over his rack and his loin. He is the freshest over his loin. He's the freshest that he comes from his loin into his hip. He just handles with the most freshest shape and expression of muscle out here. He puts that together in a really well-balanced, correctly designed package. He's the thickest and the heaviest muscle one we have out here. A really nice lamb to start this class out with. The young lady's lamb we have in second could be a little stouter bone, could be a little bigger in some features. I think this sheep's probably a little thicker and leveler and square on the top part of her hip. I think this sheep may have as much actual volume of muscle as our class winner does. But when we get to talking about shape, expression, and freshness of muscle, this lamb doesn't handle quite as fresh to the touch. I'd like to have this lamb handle with just a little more freshness and expression right about the rack. I'd like to pull that rack out just a little bit. I'd like to make that lamb, if we handle it down its loin, have the shape and expression of our class winner. I'd like to make it just a little fresher when we go from the loin into the hip, but a stout-made, heavy muscle lamb that comes in second in a really tough class. Our young man's lamb we're going to have here in third is a lamb that probably got in there with those two and just simply didn't have enough power. He needed to be thicker. He needed to be heavier muscle to get in there. We'd like to probably make that sheep, as we talk about our top two over him, maybe balance out just a little more correctly and come out of that shoulder just ever so more correctly. Our lambs we have in fourth, fifth, and sixth, if we talk about these sheep, they need to power up. And I'm a big power type person. I like them to be thick. I like them to be heavy muscle. These three sheep just need to have a little more shape and thickness of muscle from front to back. Maybe just balance out a little more correctly too. Guys, let's put our hands together for a great set of kids.
When these clear the ring, we'll be ready for our final class of camps. Should be 6 entries in class 3. Results of class 2. First goes to Payne Rivers from Bravado TV. Second, Joseph Brown, Smithfield 4-H. Third, Tyler White, Valiant 4-H. Fourth, Anna Boland, Idaville FFA. Fifth, Willie Van Gaal, Idaville FFA. And sixth is Megan Klein from Smithfield FFA.
apologize about taking just a little longer on this trio here. And guys, these three sheep here, that there is give and take in all three of these. And if you like the one in third to win it, or if you like the one in second, or however, I can kind of see, because at certain times in my thought process, those lambs had all beat the other one in certain areas. Guys, there's one sheep, though, that we get out here, and we're going to talk this one as being the most complete. The young man in the FFH shirt that wins the class, he simply, to me, has the most complete lamb. This lamb is the thickest and the heaviest muscled. He has the most correct finish over his rack and his loin. He has the most shape and expression of muscle down that top. He ties into a really thick, heavy muscled leg. I think, guys, as we look at him, he's probably the one that's put together the most correctly. He balances out the most correctly. If I could change him, I'd like to maybe lengthen his hip, and I'd like to make him just a little leveler right there on the end of it. But that's a pretty tough criticism on a really stout, powerful made, heavy muscled lamb. The young lady's lamb comes in second here as a big frame, large sheep here, guys, but doesn't look old and doesn't look out of sorts. A big, heavy muscle lamb that's got a lot of shape, lots of thickness, lots of power. Where I get on this sheep just a little bit, it wants to be a little more piecey in its overall design, wants to be a little tighter right there behind the shoulders, wants to be a little tighter right there where it comes in from the loin to the hip. I'd like to make that lamb just a little, this blend smoother from front to back. And also with that, I'd like to put just a little more added shape and thickness and muscle in that loin, especially if we take that loin from the loin into the hip. Just needs to be a little fuller right there. The young lady's lamb in third probably gave me the most trouble. This lamb has an amazing handle to it. I love the way this lamb handles. I think it handles as fresh as our class winner. I think it handles with as much shape and expression of muscle as our class winner. This sheep gets me when you get it on the move. This sheep wants to drop its shoulder, wants to come out with its neck a little lower as we compare it back to the others, wants to be a little more piecey and not quite as well balanced as our top two we have in class. And of those top three sheep, wants to be the smaller, finer boned of those, but a really nice lamb that handles tremendously over that rack and that loin. Young lady, you've done a really nice job getting that lamb fed. Our lambs we have in fourth, fifth, and sixth here are some sheep that need to kind of power up, and I use that term a lot. We need more thickness and muscle in those sheep, and they need to handle just a little more freshness to them. A nice set of lambs, a great set of kids. Guys, let's put our hands together for these young ladies and men.
Class 3 trophy ring, and we'll be ready to show for our champion hamp. We need all three class winners back in the ring, and if you showed a hamp, we need to be very close, be in the makeup area, because we're going to try to line up about 10 of these hamps in the preliminary hamp cell order. So we'll be ready to start with our champion hamp drive as soon as y'all are ready. Results of class 3. First went to Corbin Murray from Smithfield FFA. Corbin also had second in that class. Congratulations, Corbin. Third went to Kayla Young from Broken Bow FFA. Third went to Kyla Green from Broken Bow FFA. That's fourth went to Kyla Green. Fifth went to Kaylin Clemens from Baptiste FFA. And sixth to Autumn Bowling from Iredell FFA.
Go to half the year and be in the makeup.
put our hands together right now for our Hampshire exhibitors. It brought a tremendous set of sheep and got a really nice set to go back through here and line up for our sale order, guys. As we step out here and we start to analyze these sheep, I hope everybody can see once again they kind of all match up, kind of a uniform set here of really stout, powerful made lambs. Guys, we get one out here, and I think there's probably that lamb, we're going to say that term quite a bit, more complete. Young man out of Class 2 will be your champion.
Josie Brown out of Class 2 back in the ring. Josie Brown.
We bring that second place middleweight lamb out, and we talked that lamb as one that had the look, the design, the thickness of muscle, needed a little more shape and expression, needed to be just a little fresher, and I think that still kind of holds true when we get it out here. Guys, there's one that when we're getting ready to bring him in, I had it down in my mind between two of these sheep, and I knew one would be breed and one would be reserve, and we get them out here, and this lamb just will not cooperate. He's running all over the place. He's got himself all kinds of discombobulated out here. Young lady out of Class 1, you're going to be the reserve. Smile and have some fun, sweetie.
Hallelujah. Number 4 is a reserve hand. Tyler White out of Class 1 back in the ring. Tyler White. Edward Murray will be third. Out of Class 3 will be over the second place lamb back in the ring. Corbin second will be the fourth lamb preliminary lamb in. Kaylin Young back in the ring. Class 2, Josie Brown. Rosie Brown is our fifth one. We need Tyler White. Tyler White out of Class 2. Class 1, it's Tyler White. He's number 6 in the preliminary rating. We need Lauren Jackson. Lauren Jackson. Class 3. Kaylin Young. We need Tyler Green. Tyler Green. You have a hamster, you need to be in the makeup area. This will be our 8th selection. We're going to pick 10. So we're going to select 3 more. Class 2. That's Tyler White. And Anna Boland. Tyler is number 8, and Anna Boland out of Class 2. Out of Class 1, that's Lauren Jackson. She's number 9. And Haley Smith. Haley Smith. And this will be the final selection for our hamster preliminary sell order. If you have a Class 1 natural, you'll be in the makeup area. Out of Class 2, Anna Boland is number 10. That's going to conclude our hamster show. We'll be ready to start our natural show. We have 2 classes of naturals. Class 1 natural, there should be 3 entries in Class 1.
Pretty interesting set of naturals to start out with. Let's give these three young ladies a big round of applause before we get this going here. The lamb we're going to start with, guys, once again, that term complete. This lamb overpowers the other one. We talk about shape and thickness of muscle over the rack and the loin. Got a big, thick, square hip, really thick and powerful when you get right in behind them. The most correctly finished, the most expression of muscle over that top. If I could change this sheep, when she gets on the move on the side profile, she wants to hump up a little bit. If there's any way you can get her to relax that back, kind of throw her head back a little bit and get her to get that top down, it'll help you actually get into some bigger shows. They're going to nail you on that one. The young ladies' sheep are going to have in second. Kelly does move around the ring a little more correctly, kind of levels and smooth. You like the way this sheep blends and balances, probably better than our class winner, especially on the move. Land that was, when you get your hands on it, there's not as much sheep there as our class winner. Needs to be wider over that rack, needs to be fresher out there on the end of his loin, needs to be thicker and deeper when you get right in behind it, but a really nice balanced lamb for the young lady. The young lady's lamb we're going to have in third, the long-bodied extended lamb. You really like this lamb with the front 1/3 as being long and clean. As we talk that sheep back to our other ones, need to be more power in this sheep, needs to be thicker and heavier muscle. Guys, let's give those three ladies a great big round of applause as they exit the ring.
We're going to clear the ring in class 2 naturals and 2 inches in class 2. Go see Mr. Campbell over there and go through the scales into the show ring, if you would, please. Results of class 1. First is Vera Brown, Smithfield, FFA. Second, Maddie Wright, Brokomo, FFA. And third to Lillian Van Gaal from Idaville, FFA.
Guys, probably the toughest decision between two lambs we've had to make all day. And if you flip-flop them, I'm not going to argue, guys, because these are two really great sheep. They're really good in their own right. They each have a thing that I really like about them. That's a thing I look for and I grab onto and go those sheep. And then they each have a thing that I don't like and try to move away from. So it makes it really hard to balance this deal out. And if you flip-flop them, you know, I'm going to agree with you because I've flip-flopped them time to time. The lamb we're going to start with, guys, for me, is just more complete in the things I look for. He's a bigger outline, better balance, better designed sheep that's smoother in his transitions. He's smoother in his lines. He comes out of his shoulder just a little more correctly. He's a little longer and thicker, longer and thinner through that neck. A thing that gets this lamb from me that I like, and I'm going to move him up because of that, he simply handles fresher over that rack and that loin. He's got a little more shape and expression. He's fresher when he moves from that loin into that hip. He's square and leveler right out of his hip from me. I need to see this sheep, as I compare him back to the other one, as powerful as that lamb. This lamb is not as wide and thick as our lamb we have in second place. I'd like to see him bust open like that sheep. I don't think that's in their skeleton, though. I don't think that sheep can bust open anymore, just the way he's packaged and put together. But one that we talk about balance, we talk about one that's put together, we talk about one that blends and is correctly finished. The lamb that wins the class is all that from me. The lamb we have in second is the powerhouse sheep. This lamb is wider over the rack. He's wider over his loin. So this lamb has more thickness to the leg. You can tell that. This sheep, though, as I start to analyze on the side profile, wants to be a little more shorter, a little more compact, wants to be a little shorter and coarser right there through that front 1/3. Guys, when we get to studying this sheep, he's a little shorter right of his hip. And the big thing for me is when I handle this sheep and I get to the back part of his loin, he doesn't handle as fresh to the touch as our lamb that starts the class. He wants to wash out just a little bit on both sides of the spinal process there. Guys, a great set of sheep, a tremendous set of young ladies. Flip-flop them if you'd like to. Let's give these two girls a great big round of applause.
First in Class 2 went to Felicity Ruthart from Broken Bow FFA, and second to Anna Boland from Idabel FFA. We're now ready to select our champion natural. We need both class winners back in the ring. Both class winners back in the ring.
Thank you, Dr. Pepper.
Our plaque for our natural is being sponsored by Joe's Pawn Shop. We certainly appreciate them supporting their kids every year.
Let's put our hands together for our natural exhibitors today. Probably not the high numbers of some of the other breeds, but really deep quality, and the kids are even better. Guys, we get out here, and I think there's one that puts together what I'm looking for. Your young lady with the heavyweight's going to be your champion in this class.
Felicity Ruthart from Broken Bow FFA is our champion natural. We need Anna Boland back in the ring.
We bring that second place heavyweight out there, and we talk those two sheep in class as having things that you loved about each one and things you didn't like. They're very close in there, and I think they're still close today. Right now, you're going to be the reserve champion, hun.
Reserve champion goes to Anna Boland out of Class 2. That will automatically make Jenna Brown be our third natural in the order. And that will conclude our natural show, because the rest of them will be lined up if we need them. We'll be ready for Class 1 Shrops. Class 1 Shrops. There should be 4 entries in Class 1. There's 2 classes of Shrops. Class 1 Shrops. You can make your way to the show ring.
start off our Shropshire drive here, and I think we have a really nice set to sort through. And of those, we have one that finds its way to the top very easily. Young lady in the 4-H jacket there on my far right, 4-H shirt on my far right will be the class winner. With guys, the one that just is the most complete. This sheep is finished correctly, shape and expression and muscle over that rack and that loin. Really balances out correctly, transitions very well, long and level in the hip. Lots of shape and thickness and muscle when you get right in behind. I love the feel, I love the rib shape, I love the shag. A really nice lamb to start the class out with right here. Young man we're going to have in seconds is going to be the one on the far left. A lamb that has a lot of the same attributes that our class winner does. You like the handle, the freshness this sheep has. You like the expansion over the loin and rack. You like the levelness and squareness to the hip. Where this sheep gets beat is when you step back off of him and you start to analyze this sheep. He wants to be a little lower at his point of his shoulder. He wants to be a little coarser through that front 1/3. And when you get your hands on him, he doesn't handle quite as fresh to the touch as our class winner. Our young lady's lamb we're going to have in second is a sheep kind of like our man that we have in second. One that's put together fairly well, maybe taller at the point of the shoulders, may blend just a little more smoothly than our second place lamb, but needs to be thicker, needs to be heavier muscle, needs to be fresher to the touch. Young lady's big framed outline lamb that we're going to have in fourth here is one that you need to appreciate the added grow this lamb has. This lamb is really big in its kind and makeup. This sheep needs to be fresher in the handle. This sheep needs to be wider and thicker from front to back. Let's give all our exhibitors a great big round of applause.
Results of Class 1. First goes to Josie Brown, Smithville 4-H. Second, Tanner White, Valiant 4-H. Third, Lauren Jackson, Valiant 4-H. And fourth to Alyssa Hardaway, Baptiste FFA. We're ready for Class 2. Class 2 Shrops. You can make your way to the show ring. Should be 4 entries in Class 2.
Going to start the class with the young man's Shropshire lamb here. That, guys, when you get your hands on him, he just simply overpowers the rest of them in the class. He's the thickest, the widest, the most freshest in his handle. He's got a lot of shape and thickness and dimension and muscle down that top. Really big and bold through his leg. You get him out on the side profile, guys, he's the most correct in his balance. He's the tallest fronted, tallest at his shoulder. Really blends everything together in a very nice package. Very easy to find him to get this class started off with. Our young lady we have in second gives him a kind of a close run for the money. The lamb that has the second most correct handle out here. You like the way the lamb handles over the rack and the loin. Compare this lamb back to our class winner. We need to blow it apart. We need to just have more shape and thickness and muscle. We just need to have more total muscle in that lamb. I love the squareness out the lamb's hip. I love how deep she is right there through her twist. I love the added thickness to the lower leg. Needs to be a little taller at the point of shoulders when we talk it back over that class winner. Our young lady's lamb we're going to have here in third is a big outline, big frame sheep that has some shape and thickness and muscle down that top and through the leg. Once again, though, when we talk it back over first and second, simply gets outpowered. Our young lady's lamb we're going to round out the class with the biggest, growthiest lamb we have out here. Long-bodied, extended lamb that just simply needs to be wider from front to back. Let's put our hands together for a great set of young exhibitors.
We'll be ready to show for our champion Trop. As soon as they clear the ring, we'll need both class winners back in the ring. First in Class 2 was Payne Revis from Broken Bow FFA. Second is Maddie Wright from Broken Bow FFA. Third is Zelly Norman from Baptiste FFA. And fourth is Jazzy Hester from Valiant 4-H. Show the Schropp, you need to be in the makeup area. Schropps need to be handy. We'll line up preliminary sell order.
Once again, let's put our hands together for all Schropp sire exhibitors out here today. A really nice set of sheep to sort through. And guys, I do want to commend you. These young people out here are amazing. They're all polite, they're pleasant, they're smiling, they're having a good time. And then that's what this is all about. The wins and losses go away in a couple of days, but those smiles and memories stay around forever. Guys, we get out here and we look at these sheep, and guys, there's one that fits the things I'm looking for, and I think if you've heard me talk about what I'm looking for, if you've looked out here at what I'm trying to see, you'll see that lamb. The young man's heavyweight will be your champion.
Champion Trop goes to Payne Revis, Broken Bow 4-H.
We come out here for our reserve champion, and we bring that second place heavyweight out. We talked that lamb is from the shoulder back. We loved everything about that sheep. The spread it had over the rack and the loin, the levelness and squareness, and added thickness it had through the hip. Needed to probably balance out a little more correctly that front 1/3 that, as we talked it back over that class winner there, went on to be the breed champion. And honestly, probably needed to be just a little more powerful. Guys, when we get out here and we get to the reserve champion, it gets very close. But once again, there's one thing I'm going to settle on. It's freshness and expression of muscle. The second place out of Class 2 will be your reserve champion. Let's put our hands together.
Maddie Wright, Broken Bow FFA. We need Zelly Norman back in the ring. Third out of Class 2. Class 1 will be third, which is Josie Brown from Smithville. We need Lauren Jackson back in the ring. No, Tanner White. Excuse me, Tanner White. I was reading the wrong line. Okay, Tanner White's going to be fourth. Now we need Lauren Jackson. Okay, and Lauren will be our fifth and final one. We'll conclude it right there. That's going to conclude our Shropshire show. Class 1 crosses, Class 1 crosses. If you'll go by Mr. Butler over there and come through the scales, Class 1 crosses needs to come through the scales with Mr. Butler.
140. 140.
Class 1 crosses, we're ready for you in the show ring. You need to go through the scales and into the show ring. Through the scales and into the show ring.
How many classes is submarine? Three?
Three crosses.
And three crosses?
This is three cross. This is cross.
This is crosses.
Yes, we don't have any stuff.
You don't have seven? Wow.
They were in the AOB.
Okay.
Pretty interesting set to sort through here, and I think you have two at the top and bottom. You have to, you have two here at the top that you have to kind of sort through to figure out which one you want to do. And I'm not going to say the one that starts the class. I love everything about him, but I think he has the most good parts out here, and he's the most complete. Guys, this sheep just out-handles the rest of him. He's wider and thicker over his rack and his loin. He's bigger and fuller right there as you come from his loin into his hip. You love the squareness that he has. You love the added muscle he has to that lower stifle, the bulge he has to that leg. A really stout, powerful made lamb. You love the rib shape and the feel he has. He needs to probably be a little bigger outline for me, a little longer bodied, and maybe just a little taller right there at his shoulder. But in the lightweight class here, I think he fits very well. Our young lady's lamb we have in second is that larger outline, kind of taller made sheep. That maybe kind of, it's just a little cooler right there through that front 1/3. I'm going to say probably gets around the ring just a little more correctly off those back twos compared to our class winner. But guys, if we start to study this sheep and get our hands on it, it doesn't have as much shape and expression and muscle over that rack and that loin. Wants to be a little more washed out when it comes from the loin into the hip, but a really stout, a really good framed outline sheep here that the young lady can be proud of. Our lamb we have in third is probably the third most correctly finished sheep that we have out here. You like the freshness that the sheep has, but once again, we're getting into this, it just simply gets out-powered. We need to have more power and muscle in this sheep, and that can be said for our 4th and 5th place lambs too. They need to have more shape, need to have more thickness, need to be blown apart. Let's put our hands together for a great set of kids.
Results of Class 1. First goes to Jared Brown, Smithfield FFA. Second, Kaylin Young, Broken Bow FFA. Third, Haley Smith, Broken Bow 4H. Fourth, Megan Klein, Smithville FFA. And fifth, Maddie Hamlin, Broken Bow FFA. We're now ready for Class 2. Class 2 crosses. There should be 6 entries in Class 2. Should be 5 entries in Class 2. You have one. Yep.
Really nice set of crossbred lambs to sort through, and we have one that kind of rises up here and wins this class fairly easily. I think the young man in the middle of the trio is going to be your class winner with the ewe lamb. Once again, guys, one that just simply outpowers the rest of them, has that great and correct feel over the rack and the loin, really smooth in the transitions, bounces out so well. You love that sheep through the front 1/3. A really nice lamb for the young man to be driving here today. The young man here coming in second's got the bigger frame, larger outline lamb, but you appreciate those things about it. You probably appreciate the added bone and foot size this sheep has. This sheep, guys, handles different than he looks. He handles with some shape and expression and muscle over that rack and that loin. I think as a young man grows and gets more confident with these sheep, he can get him stuck. We can't quite get a good handle on this sheep because he doesn't quite get him stuck. But when you get your hands on him, you feel the dimension of muscle. You just need to feel a little more shape and expression. The young man coming in third in the 4H shirt there has got another larger frame sheep that's a little longer through that front 1/3. One of those, we start to analyze and break him down, gets to be a little more piecey in his overall makeup, wants to break right there behind his shoulders, wants to be a little tighter right there when he comes from his loin into his hip, wants to roll out of his hip ever so slightly there. We could take this sheep and make him just a little fresher in his handle. I think that would help him too. The sheep we have here in 4th and 5th do handle fresher to the touch. They have tremendous width to them. They're really wide down their tops. They're square in their hip. Both these sheep out here, if we get in these heavyweight classes, they need to be bigger in their kind. Guys, let's put our hands together for a great set of kids.
Results of Class 2. First goes to Payne Revis from Broken Bow FFA. Second, Kendall Hughes from Broken Bow 4H. Third, Jason Tate, Hayworth FFA. Fourth is Tanner White from Valiant 4H. And fifth is Tyler White from Valiant 4H. We're ready for Class 3. Class 3 crosses. There'll be 7 entries in Class 3. This will be a final lamb class of the day. Class 3 crosses, 7 entries.
I apologize about taking so long with this class and having to walk them an extra turn. There's a lot of sheep in here as we compare to what we've judged today. And there's also a lot of different types of sheep, and there's a lot of really high quality sheep out here. So you had to really sit back and sort through these. And I'm going to try to talk most of this class here because there's so many differences. And I'm sure some of you are out there thinking, what is he thinking? And I want you guys to kind of know and see what I'm seeing. Guys, first and second up here, I think they're the two best sheep in the class. And I think for number one, you need to get your hands on them to appreciate that. We're going to talk about these two and then talk about how the one's better than the other one. The young lady here with the the young lady in the blue FFA shirt, powerful lamb. Lots of rib, lots of shape, lots of thickness, big bone, big footed, really a stout made lamb. And I think when you get him out here, she gets him set up, he may balance out just a little more correctly than some of the other ones we have out here. Really powerful, heavy muscled sheep. Young lady sheep we have here in second. I love the design. I love the freshness this sheep has. I love the shape and expression and muscle this sheep has. This sheep doesn't have as much power as we compare him back over the first place sheep there. Wants to be a little narrow right there over his rack, a little narrower in his loin, and doesn't have as much power when you get right in behind him. I'd like to take and make that rib a little bigger. I'd like to take and make it just a little deeper flanked on some areas. But I think a lamb right there that comes in the second very nicely. Yeah, guys, get your hands on those. Those are the two freshest handling sheep out here, the most correct in their degree of finish. A really nice set of sheep to put in the top pair there. Young lady, pull that third place lamb out. This lamb here gives me lots of trouble. He handles just as the same as the first and second. He's really fresh in his degree of finish. He has a lot of shape and expression and muscle when we talk from the loin forward. He has a big, thick rack in him. He's really deep and thick right there. He falls into a really big loin right there at the beginning of his loin. As you start to handle him, and you start to handle him to the back part of his loin, he wants to pinch just ever so slightly coming from his loin into his hip. And as we talk back of our top three sheep here, I'm going to say he begins to wash out just a little bit. Now, I'm saying of the top three, he's not washed out, he's not stale, he's none of those things. But as we talk him back over these sheep, he's not quite as fresh when he comes into his loin there. I love the hip this sheep has in him. I like how level and square he is. A big thing that got me on this lamb. I need to take and square this guy up in his hocks and his pasture. I know this isn't a hog show. I understand that. But that stuff there kind of concerns me. He wants to kind of pop those hocks out, and he wants to kind of twist on those pastures a little bit, but a big, powerful made lamb. The young man's lamb we have out here in fourth is one from I'm going to say from about the mid-rib back. You love this sheep. He is as powerful as the ones we have above him. You like the loin he has, you like the hip he has, you like that big, thick leg he has to him, but from his mid-rib forward, he planes out just a little bit. He wants to be just a little tighter right there behind the shoulder of our top four sheep. He wants to be the narrowest right there over his rack, and as it comes into his loin, he needs more shape, he needs more expression, he needs more freshness and muscle to move up with these other three above him. But a really nice lamb that does very well. We peel into the fifth place lamb, the largest outline one we have out here probably. Really big frame, large outline, long body, big bone, big footed. We talk this sheep back, and we're starting to get into some. There's just not enough thickness in this lamb when we compare him back to the other ones. We need to make him wider over his rack. We need to bust that loin open. We need to make him thicker from the ground up. We just need more muscle in there. One on the side profile, though, bounces out very nicely. A lot can be said the same for the young lady that we have coming in the next hole there. One of the other big frame sheep out here that's big and stout made. Lots of grow in that sheep. This sheep gets to be a little bit piecey in its overall makeup. Wants to be a little lower coming out of its neck. Wants to be just a little more pinch right there from the loin into the hip. A sheep, though, that just needs more power, more muscle. Our young man down the end just gets outpowered in this lamb. I'm going to say outpowered, not muscle-wise. This sheep is packed full of muscle. It's the smallest, most compact lamb we have out here. Guys, let's put our hands together for a great, great set of kids.
Clear the ring, and we'll be ready to select our champion crossbred lamb. All three class winners will need you back in the ring. Results of Class 3. First goes to Anna Boland, Idabel FFA. Seconds to Maddie Wright from Broken Bow FFA. Third to Jara Brown from Smithfield FFA. Fourth is Corbin Murray from Smithfield FFA. Fifth is Autumn Boland from Idabel FFA. Sixth is Kaylin Clemens from Baptiste FFA. And seventh was Tanner White from Valiant 4-H. We're ready to select our champion cross. And our plaque for our champion cross is sponsored this year by Smith Excavation. We certainly appreciate them supporting our kids. If you showed a cross, you need to be in the makeup area. If you showed a cross, be in the makeup area.
Let's put our hands together for all our crossbred exhibitors today. Guys, this whole sheep show has been very, very tough. The quality is extremely deep in there, and there's some sheep guys in areas that have stood in the third and fourth hole that are honestly probably good enough to win the class in other counties, may even be the ones that could win the whole show. Guys, there's three really nice sheep out here that they all handle great. They're expressive. They have shape and muscle. They have freshness. It comes down to one that's maybe just a little more complete to me. Probably blends through that front 1/3 ever so slightly better than the other ones in the class. Handle's extremely wide and thick and fresh all the way down. Young man out of class 2 will be your champ.
Payne Revis, Broken Bow FFA, has our champion cross. We need second out of that class. Kendall Hughes. Kendall Hughes back in the ring.
We bring that Class 2 second place lamb out. We talked that lamb in class as being the bigger frame, larger outline lamb that had a good fresh handle, some shape and expression, but did not have as much shape and thickness and muscle as our class winner. And guys, I think that's what's going to get him out here. The lamb we're going to use for reserve champion, from his shoulder back, he's awesome. He's big and thick over his rack, big loin, big, thick, square hip, really thick when you get right in behind the sheep. He's big boned, he's stout made. If I could make that sheep come out of that neck just a little higher like our champion did, he would have been the champion. Young lady out of class 3, you're reserved.
Anna Bolin has a reserve cross from Idaville FFA. We need Maddie Wright back in the ring. Maddie Wright. We'll line up about 10 of these crosses for a preliminary sale order. So if you showed a cross, be in the makeup area, be ready. Class 1, that's Jarrah Brown from Smithville. is our third. We need Kaylin Young back in the ring. Kaylin Young. Out of Class 3, that's Maddie Wright. Need Jared Brown out of Class 3. Out of Class 1, Kaylin Young. We need Haley Smith. Haley Smith out of Class 1. Out of Class 3, it was Jared Brown. We need Corbin Murray. Corbin Murray. Out of Class 3 is Corbin Murray. We need Autumn Boland out of Class 3. Autumn Boland. Okay, our 8th selection was Autumn Boland. We need Kaylin Clemens back in the ring. Kaylin Clemens. Kaylin Clemens back in the ring. Okay, our 9th comes out of Class 2, Kendall Hughes. We need Jason Tate. We need Jason Tate back in the ring. This will be our final selection for the preliminary sale order. This will be the final selection for the preliminary sale order. And it's out of Class 1. That's Haley Smith. That concludes our crossbred show. If you had a champion or a reserve champion, you need to be definitely in the makeup area. Champions in reserve. We'll be ready to have our grand champion selection. We need all breed champions back to the show ring. We'll start out with the AOB champion, followed by the Hamp champion, the Natural, the Schropp, and then the Cross. We need five champions.
Pick the grand in reserve, and then do the grand to the free champions automatically make it today pull out, or do we have to
You'll line them up.
Okay.
And then we'll line up the reserve breeds that are guaranteed in.
Okay.
After that.
And then we'll bring the other ones. Okay.
That's kind of a third, or do I need to do the other ones until we pick? Yeah, no, this is certain.
Okay, they're going to come through the holding pins. So if you have a champion, come down into the holding pins.
I like how they got the shoulders.
Okay, I'm gonna call you off. As I introduce you, you enter the ring, okay? Everybody ready? Okay, we're gonna start off with our AOB champion, Jeremiah Murray from Smithville. Let's give them all a round of applause as they come in. Our Hampshire champion is Payne Revis from Broken Bow. Our natural was Felicity Ruthhart from Broken Bow. Our Schropp was Payne Revis from Broken Bow. And our cross was Payne Revis from Broken Bow.
Guys, let's take a moment and let's give these kids a great big round of applause. The ones out here, the ones in the back fixing to come in, and even the ones that may not make it back in here. We've got to remember as we go through all these things, guys, it's not about winning or losing. It's about the memories you make. And I'm going to say something here if we get ready to go on, and I'm a parent, and I've had to do this whole deal with my kids and all that stuff. And have we got any football coaches out there? Anybody coach football? Any coaches? Any of you guys out there? Well, then good. I probably won't make anybody mad. I had a coach the other day, my son's football coach, and if you guys have seen my son driving hogs or showing steers, you'll realize that as a freshman, he weighs about 120 pounds, and he's not going to be the most valuable player on the football team. And I was getting frustrated with him and my football coach there, and I'm going to say our football coach in town is the best one in the whole country, and I'm not cutting anybody else, but he's came in and he loves kids, and that's the most important thing. And our record shows that. Anyway, he's like, Mr. Clark, don't worry about your son. His athletic ability has nothing to do with you as a parent. And guys, I want you to think about that as we show these lambs and move on into goats. How your child does is not a reflection on you as a parent, okay? So let's keep that in mind. No matter how your child ends up today, hug them, tell them you're proud of them, tell them you did a great job, because you need to make those memories. And I know it's hard to do that as a parent. I've really had to work on my attitude with my boys in the barn. I'm not saying there's not moments where I, as they say, start to yell. And I'm not going to say that there hasn't been a brush fly on accident a time or two in the barn. But guys, we do that to try to make them be better, all right? Remember that, guys, as we think about this and we go through this cell lineup. If your child makes it, that's awesome. If they don't, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. If your kid gets through life and they say the worst thing that happened to them is they did not make the lamb sale or the goat sale in 2019 when some goofball from Morris America judged it, your kid's had an awesome life, okay? Guys, let's give these kids one more time a great big round of applause. Really didn't know what to expect when I came down here to judge these lambs. Hadn't been down here in 4 or 5 years to judge the sheep show. Guys, the quality is massive in this county here. Very deep. Guys, there's some classes. The 4th and 5th place lamb, honestly, were good enough to make the sale at our county. There was one 3rd place lamb in there, I think, that could have probably won our county show. So that says a lot for this county. Guys, you know what I like in sheep if you watched out here. I like them complete. I like them stout. I like them big middled. I like lots of shape in them. They got a handle with some freshness over that top. They've got a handle with shape and expression. They got to look the part. Guys, when we get out here, there's one sheep that I think does all those things very easily for me. He's got the most, when we were judging in college, EST words. This lamb's got the most ESTs. Your young man with your crossbred is going to have your grand lamb. Let's put our hands together, please.
Payne Rivas, Broken Bow FFA with our grand champion. Payne will receive a buckle sponsored by our American Farmers and Ranchers. We certainly appreciate them.
When I start handing out the cards, I'm bringing them right here. Just want me to tell when you come over to me.
We bring that reserve champion cross out, and we talk that lamb is probably from the shoulders back. Love the stout ironess that lamb had, how big it was busted open on down the top. Really big loin, big square hip, really thick when you got right in behind him. You want to take that sheep in that champion drive in the crossbreds and make him just a little cleaner fronted. You want to pull his neck up a little bit to where he comes to have his shoulder just a little bit higher, and I think that still probably kind of gets him in an area or two out here today. Guys, in my mind, it's very, very close between two of the sheep out here. I think when you get your hands on them, though, one outpowers the other one. When you get right over the back part of his loin, you take that and you go into the hip there and the lower parts of the stifle. The young man with the Shropshire is going to be reserved.
Payne Revis, Broken Bow FFA, has a reserve grand. Okay, now there are some automatics that line up that go in the sale order. What we'll do now is these 3 breed champions that have not been selected, line those 3 breed champions up for us. And exhibitors, when he picks you, you walk up here to this stand, and this young man will hand you a card. When he picks you, walk up here. Natural. 4. Okay. Hamp will be 5. AOB will be 6. Okay. Now we need all the reserve breed champions in the lineup except for the natural. All the reserve breeds except the natural. Okay, these reserve breeds, line these reserve breeds up. Exhibitors, come up to the stand when he picks you. The Hampshire. Just hang on a second. Crossbred should be number 8. That's right. Shropshire is number 9. And the AOB is 10. And the AOB is also the best county bred. She will move to number 3 in the sale order. Okay? Now then, we need all of the third place in each breed can come out into the lineup. Line them up the same way, just like we were. AOBs here. We should have an AOB, a Hamp, then a natural, which the natural will be the reserve breed. The reserve breed natural. The Shrop and then the cross. We should have 5 lambs on the line. That's right. Natural is number 10. We need the next natural. Should be Jarrah Brown. Should be the 3rd natural. Maddie Wright needs to be on deck in that natural division there. Should be the next one. Number 11 comes out of the natural, which we need Maddie Wright. Hamp is number 12. We need Corbin back again.
She used to live in Kingston, Alabama, but then she moved to Texas and she was somewhere. Where did they move from? I don't know, I'm not here.
Cross is 13. Should need Maddie Wright. Cross is 14. We need Kaylin Young. Kaylin Young. Camp is 15. We need Josie Brown. We have 3 more that we're going to select that will be in the sale, and we'll pick 1 alternate. 3 more to select and 1 alternate. Camp. We need Tyler White. Tyler White. Drop. We need Tanner White. Tanner White with his swap. This will be the final selection that is in the sale, and we will select one alternate after that. Cross. We need Jared Brown.
Oh my goodness.
Cross will be our first alternate. That is the first alternate. Okay, that concludes the selection for our sale order for our lamb show. We'll let the ring clear and we'll be ready to start with our showmanship contest. We'll start with seniors. Senior division is 16 and up. If you're 16 and up, you want to compete in the senior showmanship, we'll be ready.
What's going first, senior? What's going first? Okay, he said he wants to present the showmanship books. So they're right here.
Somebody be there to hand them.
You'll be there. I gotta go get ready.
Senior showmanship will be 16 and up. The intermediate division will be 12 to 15, and the junior division is 11 and under. Senior division, if you're a senior showman, 16 and up. Showman, you're in the ring. Senior showman, you're in the show ring. Junior showman, you need to be in the makeup area. Intermediate showman from 12 to 15 in the makeup area.
Guys, let's put our hands together for our senior lamb showman. Guys, I know what you're going through on showing these. I grew up, I showed sheep. I grew up in Minco in Grady County, and we had a show against the Macklemore girls in our county, and number one, our hogs weren't good enough, and we weren't cute enough, so we had to go to the sheep barn and show lambs, and that's kind of the way we had to do things so that we could get in the sale a little bit easier. My ag teacher, every one of us had a breed we had to have so we could have every breed champion of the county, and my bad luck, the year I started showing sheep, the young boy that showed Dorsets graduated. So hunting with a Dorset, I know what you're going through. Okay, I had those things, and they're just a different animal. But I've showed them. I've been out there where you guys are. Guys, sheep showman is probably one of the toughest ones because you can take a great sheep and make it look horrible, or you can take a average sheep and make it look great. Guys, in my mind, it gets very close between two showmen out here. The differences are very little. One thing is the way the front legs are set on the lamb at all times. The individual's going to win this has got all four legs in the right spot at all times. Could be the sheep's trained that way. Could be the showmanship. The lamb is always set like it needs to be, even in class, even on the move. The lamb was always set. The individual is very calm, very relaxed, knows different ways of showing. I got him on the wrong side on purpose to see if they could handle that. Didn't phase the individual. Very calm, very collected. Young man on the end will be your champion.
Payne Revis, Broken Bow FFA is our champion senior lamb showman. We'll let the ring clear and we'll be ready for our intermediate showman, 12 to 15. If you're 12 to 15 years of age, we'll be ready for you to enter the show ring. If you're a junior showman, 11 and under, 11 and under, you need to be in the makeup area. Junior showman, 11 and under. Just for everybody's information, when we conclude with the junior showmanship, we're going to take a short break before we start the goats. This will be a short break for just a little bit. We'll see what time that is, time we get finished, and let you know when we'll start back. We'll take just a short break before we start the goat show. And we'll start with the does.
Let's give these intermediate showmen out here a great big round of applause. We've got 6 very highly competitive young individuals out here doing a great job. And guys, you know, people ask me from time to time, what's your favorite thing to judge? What's your least favorite? And I'll be honest, at times, showmanship is, because, you know, about anybody can handle you saying something about the animal. But when you say something about their kids, sometimes that gets you in a little bit of a bind. So I don't really say just a whole lot, because I had a grandma one time that followed me out to the pickup, and she was very irate with me because something that I said about her grandchild. So I really don't say a whole lot. And I understand that, especially as I get kids and you know, have to talk to my wife from time to time because she thinks they're angels, and I see the devil horns that they do have at times. So anyway, guys, we got a great set of kids out here. Showmanship can be like judging a class sometimes. That one hits the ring, and you know it. You watched them all day. You know that one. When they walk in, they got their game face on. They're ready to go. Guys, there's an individual out here that does a tremendous job showing lambs. And a lot of times through the day, she took the bottom end of the flip. But she kept her head up. She kept doing a good job. She comes back in here and shows like no tomorrow. Young lady right here in front of me with the FFA shirt will be your champion showman.
I believe that's Jared Brown from Smithville. Jared Brown from Smithville is our champion, the intermediate showman. We'll let these clear the ring, and we'll be ready for our final sheep class of the day, our junior showmanship, 11 and under, 11 and under.
Guys, let's put our hands together for these junior showmen. These are the toughest decisions to make all day, and probably the things you think about the most on your drive home is the showmanship at times. And guys, I'm not going to say there's one out here that was just perfect, did everything right. All these kids did a great job, but there's room to learn and improve, and they should be at this age. They should have some areas they need to improve at and get better, and that's part of growing up, part of showing, part of life is the longer you go, the better you get and the more you learn. Guys, it gets real close out here, and in my mind, with two of these individuals, and I think it's probably going to come down to just some little things, and probably just the one that's had the most experience in the ring will probably be the one that gets to get this buckle. Once again, before we select our champion showman, guys, let's put our hands together one more time for a great set of kids.
Is that Josie Brown? Somebody tell me, is that Josie Brown? Yes? All right, Josie Brown from Smithfield, our champion junior showman. Okay, we're going to take about a 20-minute break. Let the goat exhibitors get ready, and then we'll be back to start the goat show. We'll start with our does. About 20 minutes, we'll start with Class 1 does.
Big wireless companies keep getting bigger and bigger, but their coverage where you live is still small. At Bravado Wireless, we provide the best unlimited talk, text, and data for only $40 a month, right here in Eastern Oklahoma. You deserve to connect fast to your family, friends, and colleagues, wherever they are, with no interruptions and no excuses. Don't buy into big. Go bold. Go Bravado. Visit bravadowireless.com or visit one of our stores, where we make it easy to join our family. Bravado Wireless. We believe in the power of connection.